beliefs, statements, concepts, ideas, this is all words, that are like hypnotic trances. They're like on a computer where you have an operating system, and then you have all these different apps or what would you say, additions that does this and this and this. Well, that's all done through, you know, programming. Words, numbers, how meanings, all of that, so images. And say, for instance, you're trying to say, I'm successful. The mind is also going to bring up right now, no, you're not, you're a loser and you're a failure, because that's how the mind operates. It always goes to both sides. And you have to get up above duality. You know, so many people, I used to myself, but positive thinking, don't have any negative thinking, don't have any positive thinking. Well, positive and negative are two poles on a battery. And you want to use your powers of intelligence and observation. Obviously, the battery won't operate if either one of those poles are not functioning. So you get thinking is always a system of positive and negative, like and dislike. And don't think that love is the opposite of fear, and fear is the opposite of love. That's not true. That makes you an impersonal object rather than a divine being who's a creator being. This is who you are. You can't help it. And when we say, oh, okay, I'm wealthy and I'm prosperous, but you have programs that are running underneath that are always trying to defeat you, and what you want to do is start to listen to and watch what your mind is doing. Everybody's got one. And how you react to stuff, who you feel comfortable with, who you don't feel comfortable with, what words are triggering you, what statements, what stuff terrorizes yourself. You know, it's like there's sometimes when people are afraid that whatever they do, people are going to criticize them and ostracize them for that sort of thing, and so they don't want to do that. So instead of taking a look at what they're doing and who they are and how they're functioning, they want to make everybody as insane and a nitwit as they are. And that's how you get mass control of people with one narrative. You're all one. You're in the oneness program. You're all going in the same direction. We're not different. Well, what is that? Take a look at where does that function in nature? In the insect world. That's where hive mentality functions. It doesn't even happen in the animal kingdom because all the animals aren't going in the same direction with the same program. There's variety. And if you start to notice, there's variety also, like we're not the same as everyone except at a certain level as the fabric of our being, but we're also different. There's always infinite variety. And how you delete those problems and those troubles is, first of all, to take a look at what, and that's what we do at retreats and workshops, is to eliminate, to find what are those hypnotic trances, what are those suggestions, what are those statements and those declarations that we have heard over and over, either said by parents or teachers or religious people or government people or newscasters or neighbors or whatever it comes from, whoever it comes from, that when people don't know really who they are and they're not firm in themselves, they accept that because they want to be liked. They want to be part of the group. They want to be included. They want to have something that they hold on to, like a philosophy or something, that and they become fanatics. Like, you know, you get fanatics are really the scourge of the world because they stay on one side of the positive or negative game, the conflict game, right or wrong, and they want to be right, and so they have to make everybody else wrong. We're not wrong, and there's nothing wrong with any of us, no one. When we are knowing and being who we are as divine persons with all godlike powers, abilities, and qualities, that's who you are. And when I say godlike, I don't mean the mind. I mean who you are and how things really operate. It's beyond, it's mystical and magical. All right, so to quickly delete those problems is you have to look at what's the cause of them. What is the belief system that's operating that? Because the outer world is always a reflection of your own consciousness. And just because someone is in your world that could be a real maniac doesn't mean you're a maniac because you perceive them. It knows you're just witnessing and observing how that's part of it and it moves through, but it's not who you are. So don't think other people are your mirrors and your reflections. Sometimes, but sometimes they're not. So you have to really take your power back from all of this institutionalized programming to tell you who you are and what you are, because if it's institutionalized, it's not you. It's operating for the institution. Then you'd also want to know who set that up. Who is the one that, what group or group of individuals are behind that? Like if you're looking at child trafficking and what they're doing with children to abuse them and murder them, really terrible things, is that you take a look at who these groups are and who's affiliated with who, and you begin to find they're the same names, the same organizations, and people start to show up. And when you do your spiritual work, you're reading, you're studying, working with people that can help you and assist you, because it's not about trying to get more, it's taking off the layers of ignorance in words and statements and belief systems that we've been taught to accept as true and real, and put over ourselves to block our full consciousness of all of our divine awareness and realizations. And then you could then do your affirmations. And I got a good one for you always. There's nothing for me to worry about ever again. And you say, well, that's really crazy. Well, worrying doesn't help. Notice this is where you are right now, and all the worry and all the troubles you went through in the past, all the self-torture for nothing. Because in this moment is the fullness of you. And you are beautiful, my darling. And all that you are, there's nothing wrong with you, ever has been. But it's the stinking thinking that gets everybody in trouble. So when you find the source of the problem, don't do it anymore. Cast it aside and now start affirming and knowing the truth about you, and be happy.